There's no modesty, no shame. Here, flirting is not accidental, it's cultural. It's as if the city puts on a sensual mask after 8 p.m. and dances until dawn. Today, you won't see postcard Dublin. You'll see the real city in its most primitive and seductive state. We'll enter crowded bars, cross the streets of Temple Bar, observe behaviors, interactions, and understand why so many say Ireland is one of the most promiscuous countries in Europe. This is the Irish night, raw and naked. Ready to discover what happens behind every pint of beer? Temple Bar is the heart of Dublin's night, and also its most vibrant and deceptive showcase. It's where tourists and locals mingle in a collective ritual of alcohol, music, and impulsivity. The streets are filled with loud voices, uncoordinated steps, and exaggerated laughter. It's impossible to walk without bumping into someone, and even more impossible not to be pulled into the vibe. Everything screams, forget the rules. But what seems like just tourist partying is much more. Inside the bars, the temperature changes. People look at each other as if they were old acquaintances. Flirting happens effortlessly, almost as if it were part of the air. It's common to see strangers kissing intensely while a fast-paced Irish folk band plays in the background. Here, no one asks too many questions. It's more about feeling than knowing. And if you're sober, you'll feel out of place. Drunkenness isn't just about drinking, it's a behavior. What many don't understand is that Temple Bar is not just a tourist spot. It's a modern hunting ground. For many, coming here is like entering an amusement park where everything is allowed. Well-dressed women, confident men, all playing the same game: attention, desire, and ego. Around every corner, a veiled invitation. With every pint of Guinness, a new story about to begin, and often ending in the same place. Temple Bar is the start of the plunge, the place where masks quickly fall and filters disappear. It's the gateway to understanding what drives Dublin's night, the desire repressed during the day that explodes fiercely in the early hours of the morning. Here, the tourist is impressed, but the local has fun. Because for those who live in Dublin, this is just the beginning, and what comes next is even more intense. After the vibrant chaos of Temple Bar, there's an almost cinematic transition. Within a few blocks, the city changes tone. The lights still blink, but dimmer. The sound of street musicians is replaced by whispered conversations. Here, in smaller and less touristy bars, promiscuity doesn't disappear. It refines. These are dark, tight spaces where the game of desire continues, but with subtler rules. Looks speak louder than words. These hidden bars are sensual refuges. You enter and everything feels more intimate. Low lighting, the smell of alcohol mixed with perfume, small tables that force closeness. Couples form right there between a beer and a cigarette. Kisses happen naturally, as if the environment permits. No one judges, no one pretends. The Irish night is straightforward, and in these places, the intensity is almost silent. They're not bars to dance in, they're bars to talk with intentions. Many come here to escape tourist excess, but not to escape promiscuity. On the contrary. Here, everything is cooler on the surface, but hotter at the core. The touch is subtler, but more effective. And what begins with an exchange of phrases about music or literature often ends with two people disappearing in the same direction. The truth is, these hidden bars show a more mature and authentic Dublin. While Temple Bar is the showcase, these places are the backstage of the night where the real game happens. This is where the curious tourist gets lost and the local finds themselves. It's where promiscuity disguises itself as sophistication and where sex begins with a sip and a well-read silence. Dublin doesn't shout its nature, it whispers, and those who know how to listen understand everything. Around midnight, Dublin sidewalks come alive. Groups form, couples separate, and the street becomes an extension of the bar. But unlike what many expect from a civilized European city, what you see here is blatant impulsiveness. Long kisses right on the sidewalk, loose laughter, hands wandering over each other's bodies amidst the crowd. There is no shame, only raw desire. The night doesn't disguise itself, it reveals. While shop windows reflect silhouettes of fleeting encounters, the alleys gain a different kind of occupation. People sitting on the ground, pressed close to each other, touching, provoking. Alcohol, yes, is a facilitator. But in Dublin, alcohol doesn't create anything artificial. It just speeds up what already exists. The looks are direct. The bodies don't ask for permission. There is a kind of silent contract in the streets. We're all here for the same reason. The atmosphere feels like a game without clear rules, but with well-defined goals. Men and women exchange compliments in the middle of the street, get closer, dance without music. The cold often serves as an excuse for physical contact. Even the shyest let themselves go, because there is a collective feeling of temporary freedom. What happens at night in Dublin won't be remembered with guilt. It'll be remembered as part of the experience. If you watch closely, you'll see the streets tell more stories than the bars themselves. It's there that encounters take shape, desires become visible, promiscuity mixes naturally. Dublin at night becomes a stage without a script, where everyone improvises their role. And in this urban theater, no one is just walking. Everyone is searching, even if they don't admit it. Or better said, especially when they don't admit it. One of the first things that impresses anyone who watches Dublin's night closely is the behavior of the women. They're not waiting to be invited. They arrive, choose, decide. Dressed boldly and with firm posture, they walk through the streets and bars with a confidence that commands respect, and at the same time, desire. There is no passivity. They lead the game with a clarity that scares the insecure and excites the sellers. Attentive. In Ireland, especially in Dublin, the feminine is not shy, it's provocative. Women speak loudly, drink as much as men, or more, and are the first to suggest something direct. There is no taboo in inviting someone out or even for something more explicit. This is not libertinism, it's pure autonomy. Here, the power of choice is well distributed. And if anyone still thinks European women are cold, Dublin quickly destroys that stereotype. It's common to see women taking initiative on all levels, starting conversations, suggesting dances, making the first move in touch. And this happens naturally without needing validation. They're not there to please, they're there to enjoy. The feeling is that in Dublin at night, female desire has space and doesn't need to disguise itself as anything else. It's accepted, exposed, and celebrated. Women's sexual freedom in Dublin isn't aggressive, it's elegant and assertive. And this completely changes the dynamics of the night. It creates a constant tension, a dance of choices where both sides play actively. Promiscuity here has no defined face, it belongs to everyone. But it's impossible to deny that they, the women of the Irish night, are the true protagonists of this urban play called desire. In Dublin, casual sex is not seen as a mistake nor as an achievement. It just happens, without drama, without plans, without justification. Often two strangers meet at a bar at 10 p.m. and by around 2 a.m. already share the same bed, or a taxi to get there. There are no deep talks before, nor promises after. The moment speaks louder, and the body in a city like this has priority over hesitation. This behavior isn't impulsive in a negative sense. It's part of a culture where desire is normalized. The Irish have learned to deal with historical, religious, and moral repression in the most natural way, by living the opposite. Casual sex is like an extension of the night, as common as having another Guinness. No one pretends it doesn't happen. No one judges. Promiscuity here isn't hidden. It's lived with disarming naturalness. Perhaps the most curious thing for outsiders is to realize this behavior doesn't cause tension. On the contrary, there is lightness. Post-sex conversations don't involve existential crises. The next morning might be a simple, "it was good," and a smile. Or even that. And that's okay. There is a cool maturity in the way Dublin deals with quick encounters. The city doesn't romanticize the ephemeral. It just allows it to happen. In many places around the world, casual sex still carries labels, burdens, and fears. In Dublin, it is almost institutional. It's part of the routine, the expectation of the night, the social cycle. Impulse becomes habit. Habit becomes culture. And culture shakes a city where desire is accepted, celebrated, and recycled night after night. That's why when people say Ireland is an extremely promiscuous country, maybe they're just saying it's a country that understands the body without guilt. The night may have been intense, but it was fully lived. In the cafes and pubs that open at dawn, exhausted bodies gather to regain strength. Conversations about the previous night happen with laughter and little shame. There are no dramas or judgments. The Irish culture seems not to carry moral weight over the choices made during the early morning. The freedom to give in to desire at night turns into a ritual of recovery and preparation for the next cycle. This absence of regret is what makes promiscuity in Dublin different from the stigma other societies carry. The night is intense, yes, but the next day is not a burden. It is a new beginning. Connections made, whether fleeting or deeper, are faced with naturalness. And if something is left behind, it stays quiet, buried under a layer of respect and silence. It's as if the city says, live the moment and then move on. This balance between surrender and acceptance creates a unique dynamic where promiscuity is not just a behavior, but an experience integrated into the local culture. Dublin lives for the night, but also respects the day. It's a constant dance between unrestrained desire and morning calm. And it's this duality that makes the nightlife of the Irish capital such a fascinating phenomenon, and so to speak. Promiscuous.